So let's get going. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with notification and we will go back to your question. Okay. So we were yesterday on system. Okay. That's one part of it. We said before we actually go ahead and send any email, and we spoke about that we want to ensure that your email configuration needs to be configured. Now, uh, let's start listing some of the tasks also while this is happening. If you look at this Excel file, we've come a long way, isn't it? From where to where? Okay. Yeah. So one task that we have is a thick client installation. Okay. That is one thing that we need to do. Second,
Yeah.
you will have a question mock preparatory link for exam. Okay. And you have something on a resume which you need to revert back with updates. Okay. And we have to allocate a slot where we can do some test, some queries together. Okay, so we will get to that one by one. So now we said we are talking about issue notification, and when we talk about issue notification, first thing that we should be looking forward is our mail settings. Most times, if it's a cloud version, of course, when you talk about an incoming mail, you're talking about pop settings, isn't it? And we're talking about port number. And when you're talking about an outgoing mail, then we're talking about SMTP, and either the port number can be 25. Nowadays, we also have a secured web port which is available 587. Where do we have it in general? If it's cloud, then Jira does it automatically. But if it's local installation or within the organization, then you need to have integration with Exchange. Also, you need to be talking to your Active Directory to get user information, and this information will be given by the system admin. Fine. So we went to mail. We looked at first global mail settings, because it can go to a point where when we are doing some maintenance activity and we really don't want to go ahead and send emails at that point of time, whatever happens, no notification should be sent while we are doing any downtime or plan notification. Then we want to ensure that this settings of email caller is off. Third, there is something called database cleaner. Okay, database cleaner is generally purely linked to your system performance, and this means you are looking at email archival or purging, because the more data that you keep on your active database, performance will be slower. So you need to have a mechanism to ensure that data is either getting archived after a certain period of time. Here you said, okay, it is probably 45 days, but if you want to change it to many more days, depends on your organization retention policy. You need to ensure that this is taken care. Okay. Second, we did speak about outgoing mail and incoming mail. Outgoing Here it's all fine, it's enabled, cloud is picked up, and here incoming mail.
So in case when we have the server version which is installed on our local machine, then only we need to do these settings, right?
Right. Or even if it's your online mechanism, and if your organization is binded by security policy that you cannot send any information directly through a cloud from Jira server, even at that situation, there are two things which you need to install. One, your SSL, which is a secure socket layer, and
Yeah,
within
firewall.
correct firewall will definitely have be a part of your organization. And yeah, once you install this, it will definitely talk to your firewall, and only with the permissions defined it will be able to send. But of course you need to ensure that my software is not talking to the cloud directly. It will talk to the exchange, have it secured, pass through the firewall, and then go the information outside or inside. So it will all get managed within the help of integration between exchange and your Jira client. Okay, so it all depends on your organization policy. Anyway, so yeah, this is where you probably need to add your pop and email settings. Uh, don't have an integration right now, but yeah, these are details that you will get it from your exchange. And this is purely nothing but when you do an integration with your uh, software and with your exchange, there is an ID which gets created, isn't it? With that ID, they will start talking to each other. This also will be created by the exchange administrator, and they will get that because at no point of time, it cannot be a direct integration. There will always be a medium in between which will do the handshaking. Anyways, this information should be available with the help of our exchange administrator. Are we good so far?
Okay.
Hmm? If you
Yeah.
have this, that means you're ready for notification. Now, first thing, we will go back to issues. Right. And thing that we will talk about now is your notification schemes. In general, today we have only one notification scheme. So it looks like everybody, all the projects that we have are using the same notification team. And our best practices so far is that we always try to ensure that we have unique set of schemes available for each project so that no disruptions, no complication happens between different projects. Like here also, you have a default project scheme. If you want to go ahead and create a copy of that and then link it to another project or something, it's a great idea to do it. So we have copied another notifications. And let's try to first
Yes.
rename that. And say we'll probably name this as our classic. We begin our journey with e-commerce project, isn't it? So we will just
Yeah.
mention it as e-commerce scheme, and let's put it there and rename. This is an e-commerce project scheme for notification. So now I have this one. Uh, you can get notification, you edit the name, you can delete, you copy, but most importantly, we are talking about something called notification. Now, what are the things that you see here in terms of notification are concerned? When can you send an email? When do you want to notify? Because many times you will see there are a lot of people who come and you talk about in general and say that I want a notification when, let's say, an email approval is sent. I need a notification. Or somebody makes a changes to the system. I need a notification. Somebody says I want to ensure when the resolution is given, not only the person who has closed the ticket, he should get a notification, but person who is closing, he should get a notification, and maybe the manager also should get in it. So all those factors are definitely in consideration when you want to go ahead and send a notification. Let's look at what are the things that we have? We can send when an issue is getting created. We can send when the issue is getting created. Mhm.
Resolved and closed. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Assigned, resolved, and closed. Now, what is the difference between resolve and closed?
Resolved is just that means to be like really not. Then only
Mhm.
once it is verified by the tester, then only we can set it to the close.
Yeah, the resolve is a very manual intervention. So once the solution is delivered, you can choose done, and those values that we have got completed or duplicate, and we resolve that. Some point of time, we've reached to a logical point. Okay, the system still keeps it open, idle for maybe let's say 72 hours or 48 hours. In case the problem still exists, users can always call back. If system does not hear any update on the ticket, automatically system will get that closed, which means you cannot modify that event in general, right?
Yes. From
Okay.
resolved we can reopen as well.
You can
But
definitely.
once it is closed, we cannot reopen it.
Very true. Correct. Okay. So you can have comment, you can definitely reopen. So when we look at all this aspect, we are really talking about situations where a notification will be sent. Okay, when something is deleted from the system, when something is moved from the system, when something is logged from the system, when we start an issue, when we stop an issue, when we generate event, many things, isn't it? Right? If
Yeah.
you want to probably add a notification, because now we have an e-commerce notification, and you said you want to create a notification, you can either click here and go to a notification and ensure a new notification can be created there. So let's try to add. Okay, so let's go back. We said mail settings are all fine. Then we went to issue, and then we went to notification scheme. The first thing we are able to review, copy and create a scheme. Once we create a scheme, we want to add a notification type into it. So we're trying to add a new notification. You're saying, when do you want to add a notification? You want to add one more notification? Okay, maybe I can actually go ahead and create something where the work is stopped on the issue. If I do a control, I can probably select two things also. Okay, but here, okay, you say we'll just when the issue is started, when it is stopped, I'm selecting both. Okay,
Okay.
one this notification to go. Do you want to go to the current company? Okay, maybe the new guy who gets this, he will get the notification, or you want to go to the reporter, or the current user, or project lead, component lead. But many times you say no, all these things are by default any which is there. I think you can also send a single user, right? So if I go ahead and probably saying that, okay, in a situation like this where the work is started on an issue and needs to be sent to a single user also, uh, you can definitely use this option, which you can specify either here, ideally it should pull information from Active Directory, or a single email address from here, where
Okay.
you can pick up an email address and say, okay, fine, I need to, what is it? ACH,
AVAT.
AVACH
CHAT.
80 at the rate gmail.com, right? Or was
No,
it something
19. Before
19?
at that there is 19.
Is this correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we said we will probably send notification when the work is started. when the work is stopped, a single email address. Okay. Do you want to add this? Yes, let's go and add this. Okay, which means we just created something new under e-commerce. We were able to go ahead and add uh, information on work stopped and work
Yes.
issue, while there were other things which were also there. But we said no. I think Mayuri is always complaining that she's not getting notification. It is important that it's sending her emails also. Okay, and so she has just logged a request through the service management tool saying that she want an access to any notification which comes when the work starts and works and we managed to add it. That way you can keep adding group, user, whatever it is. You can add more to it. So if you want to probably add probably to a group, and you remember we had, I think we have created administrator also, or did we create developer, or what all did we create? Yeah, we do have an administrator. We want to also send to a group this information. So let's add that also as a part of it, right? So when I look at this now, not only Mayuri gets an email, the whole administrator gets a mail whenever the work is stopped. All the watchers can get it, all the reporters can get it, and the current assigned owners, they can get it. But you say, no, I don't really need to worry about reporters now. Can we go ahead and delete this? Let's go ahead and delete this. Are you sure you want to delete this? Yes, let's go ahead and delete this.
So in that case, even the single user that is also not going to get the notification, right? It will
Single,
delete all the things.
single user will get it. What we did was uh, we actually looked at that and we said, no, let the watchers get it. That's fine. Let the reporter get it, assignee get it. But there was one big section which spoke about, there was one thing which was extra here. We removed that only. Yeah, so it's assuming that you say within this situation, you say watchers don't have to get it. And let's
Okay,
assume,
only one of it is deleted. Okay,
oh yeah, rest all will
okay,
remain there. So no watchers on workers started on the issue will be there. If I go
okay,
back
okay.
to
Got
now,
it. Yeah, got it.
so now that brings to your important point that can you specify a notification to a single person? Yes. Can to a single group? Yes. Can you probably give it to the guy who logs the request? Yes. Can you send the request? All those factors will be there.
Yeah.
Hmm? Now,
But default is all watchers, reporter, and current assignee.
right. So anybody who's watching, of course, he needs to says that I need to have that email. Anything happens to that update, I need to get an information. And you are aware on the watcher functionality, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and yeah, so assignee, of course, the person who's really working on the case should definitely know, and the person who's really complained about
Yes.
it, he should definitely know about it. Right? So
Yes.
we were able to go ahead and uh, organize the mail settings, select a scheme, create a copy of the scheme, add a notification type. We were also assign or delete uh, notification to single user or group, etc. We could do whatever it is, isn't it? So you understand this will be an important aspect of your administrative section where you have a lot of people calling in and saying, okay, fine. Uh, no, can you add me to the email notification? Can you delete me to this? This person should get the notification. This person should not get the notification, and all those factors will be there. Where are we playing around this? Fine. All has to be moving around that notification scheme that we created. Now, assuming that somebody calls in and says, listen, I think you have got the policies correct, But I don't think you are getting. I'm still not getting the email because it looks like you wanted to start the issue. You wanted to. I need to get an email notification on anything which gets, let's say, started. Okay, I need to get, or probably I need to really get email on whenever and system issue is moved, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I need to get the notification. Now, how do you troubleshoot that problem? If somebody calls you and says, "Listen, I'm not getting email notification. We've been talking about it last 1 week. You made some changes. You've also added and everything else, but I'm still not getting." What do we do in that case? Always go back to the
First of all, need to, if it is a role base, then need to check the role of that person. Like, is that person is having a correct role? Or if it is a group based, then need to check that that the person who is expecting to receive the email, he must be the part of that group.
correct.
Or if it is individual, then we need to set the individual notification.
Very good. Now, all what you said is definitely correct. Okay, but it will take a long time, isn't it? Going to user permissions, coming to schemes and checking here, probably audit logs and lot many things have to be done, right? To take care of
Yeah.
this problem, there is something called notification helper here. Okay, so
Okay.
you would want to use this functionality, which is a notification helper. So somebody calls in, immediately says, "I'm not able to get an email." I probably will go to notification. Put that there. And let's say Mayuri calls up and says that, "Listen, I don't think I'm getting, I was trying to probably work on one of the bug where we were trying to, add there, and I was supposed to get a notification when each time something gets reopened, and looks like you were not giving me that notification, isn't it?" So you will take the criteria that he has defined and fine, and then you will take this issue type notification and you submit. Okay, it will run a script Jira gives you, and it says, "Okay, fine, Mayuri generally is a user of the project. She has that, and she also has an access to default notification scheme. Because we've not really mapped the new notification scheme to the new project, I think we are talking about an issue where she's not able to receive notification when issue is reopening. Why is it happening?" Okay. uh, First of all, you are not in the reporter group, you are also not in the current assignee, and you are not in the watcher group. If you are not a part of any of this, of course you're not going to get an email there. Okay. And so immediately you know that we have an idea that what is the problem there. So uh, yeah, so if I look at this, only watchers will get it, reporter will get it, delete assigner honors will get it, but definitely not Mayuri who gets this. Good so far.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a very important function, and it's a part of your uh, this one also. I think it's a part of your issue type is fine, but especially with regards to non-notification, how much percentage of scores is this? Mhm. There is a notification which is there, okay, which talks about notification scheme, configuration, including events. And we'll just talk about the events in a moment. But when you troubleshoot a notification scheme and configuration, how do you troubleshoot? What do we know appropriate trouble? In general, it's best to always use notification. 5 to 10% of this can be from now.
Uh, the same thing was there now with permissions as well. Permission helper.
It was exactly there for user management. Each time, if you have a problem, definitely there is something called permission helpers, which can take care, isn't it? So notification
Yeah.
schemes tells you specifically to why this guy is not getting an email and what could be the reason why it is happening. Second, when you talk about permission schemes also, you can add a permission scheme which is there, or you can definitely go ahead and find permission helper, which was an option which was available in each scheme, and check why it was happening. So these are two important things which will help you to troubleshoot, make the job really easy
Correct.
for an administrator. It's so easy, isn't it? You know, tomorrow somebody calls in a problem, it's a button that we are looking at and nothing else. Exactly the same life. Okay.
Okay.
Now you have created a scheme of notification, which is e-commerce project. And what should we do? Because the scheme is created, I think it needs to be mapped to the project, isn't
Instead
it?
of default, we can set it.
Very good. So now you want to go back to the project. Of course, by this time, we have actually covered most things in project settings. But this one is specifically with regards to issue notification.
Notifications.
And while there are many things that we have chosen, issue type, workflow, screen, fields, version, but with regards to notifications, today we have a default notification scheme, and it has a lot of information that it is all tracked in and logged in for checking email. Another thing is we have to use a different scheme for this project because we have created a new one, and we will not use the default scheme, probably use the
E-commerce.
e-commerce scheme, and we'll associate with this scheme. Okay, this in general should okay, we are able to associate a scheme with the project. If that site when you're able to add a notification, delete a notification, add to a user, add to a group, create a scheme, create a query, and then ensure that it's mapped to the project, it is all fine. If there is a problem here, we do have an option to go ahead and have a troubleshooting done with the help of issue notification. Now, one more thing that was there, and that is probably available in system, but here we know we have something called notification scheme here, which has probably help us to create and make those long changes that we have done. But now you want to send an event. What is an event? Okay. Because most of them are predefined things, isn't it? And each time if something gets started, issue resolved, created, opened, and everything else, you should be able to send me an email automatically, isn't it? Without writing a lot of rules and who should get and what should get is all fine. But what suppose tomorrow system gets down? That's not a rule which is configured. And I think you still need to send me a mail because I think the system is down and people need to know about this. Right? How do you send that
Yeah.
mail? Because I think, or you have a plan maintenance which is coming out after 2 weeks. People should know about this, isn't it? That's where our option of event comes into picture. So
Is it something like a broadcast?
it is. There are two things which are there. One, in Jira, it is called. One is banner notification banner, which means it's
Okay.
like a big broad message which is coming on the screen, and
Yeah.
or we call it system events. Okay,
Okay. Banners created. Okay.
yeah, you don't see here notification banner because it's the cloud version, but when you download a thick version, and this
Hmm.
uh, a little new version. They're still working on having the beta of notification banner here, but you should actually, under system, next to event, the next thing that you should find is notification banner. So you can always prompt to anybody who logs into Jira, immediately gets a message, hey, this is what it is, and there is something which is going on. Okay, now with regards to event, I can still send you an event, and I've gone back to system and I want to create an event. Okay. What are event? Jira define events or a custom event that you can create. Jira defined event are generally managed with the help of schemes that we have created. With the help of that, most times we'll be able to go ahead and send an event. But assuming that we have a downtime, let's say 25th of May. And I really want to go ahead and send this to everybody. Okay, that I want to go and add a new event, and I want to ensure that we want to go ahead and probably send an event whenever the issue gets created. I really want to go ahead and add an event and send it to people. Okay, this will immediately gets added to whatever people that you go ahead and do this. You want to go ahead and edit this event, delete this event. It's all about, it will be an immediate message which goes to anybody who is a part of access user access of the system will get a message saying that okay, there's a downtime which is planned and which is available. Top of this, you will have to create a notification banner also, just in case people forget that it's just 2 weeks down the line. I am still trying to access Jira. I'm not able to access Jira. You should be able to get a prompt on notification banner which talks about saying that uh, events can get fired. Okay, there is a similar alternate option which is available exactly like this, is send email. Exactly the similar kind of situation. You could also say no, I want to really customize this and I don't want to kind of send it to the whole world. I really want to send information to probably 2 projects only, and at this point of time, okay, fine, you could probably send this only to developer and administrator, and the rest I don't want to really trouble the management on this. I want to go ahead and send the same message on to everybody. Good to have HTML because it's more attractive, and it's, you can also customize, and you could probably send this also. Yeah? So this is 2 ways of saying. Here you can exactly specify and give it to everybody. Email address format is wrong.
Reply to should be email addresses.
Okay. And I send this. So the message has been already sent to these 2 people from this box, and those people have got those access because they are the administrator and they are probably the developer who are there. 2 people have already got this message and they are already aware that something like this is coming on the way. That's one part of the story. Now, so there's just a lot of things which have been done, isn't it? From
Yeah,
probably,
emails are under Jira settings, and the emails are under same settings.
they are absolutely under the same settings. When I actually go to system, look at system, what are the things that we are using for specifically with regards to email notification. We have email settings that needs to change, right? And so when you go here, one was the global mail settings, whether you want to pull that, whether you want to archive, retain, all those information is definitely being a part of my
Yeah.
that is one part of it. Second, your settings on incoming, outgoing. Then we spoke about 2 things. One is send email and one is event. If you want to generically create an event and pass it to everybody, great. Or you can go ahead and do that under send email and
Send email. Okay.
specify and send everybody. If this is done, before that, we also had gone to issues and to notification scheme. We were able to create a scheme. We were had to able to add a notification type. We were able to troubleshoot. We were able to add a group or a single user or delete user. Once that is done, we are also able to attach to a project. Even that is done, right? So in nutshell, you have actually completed the whole cycle of a cycle of what the whole notification talks about. But there's just one more thing that you need to know. If you know that, beyond that we are all fine. Okay, which is when you go to workflow. Okay, I'm just talking about a workflow which we had created, release workflow we had created, isn't it? So let's go to one of this workflow. Today it's shared by one project. I think it's most likely the e-commerce project. Is still loading. You can have the diagrammatic version, you can have the text version, you can export this workflow, it's all fine. We also had created some transition, isn't it? Where is the transition?
Yeah.
I need something with more transition, so we will have to pick up something which is has to have some transition message. Okay, okay. Or maybe we can probably use the same workflow. It's okay.
Someone might have changed.
Yeah, this is the problem. I have to start giving different playground for people. People are playing around with this. Anyways, okay, this looks a little real than what we had done. Okay. Anyways, so if you look at this today, we had created a transition that from development to UAT, there was a transition we had created, isn't it? If you want to ensure that this is visible all the time, you can select this option.
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise, it will be hidden. There. Not a problem. But when you create validation, there are times where people will say, listen, I think you also need to be very smart because you are an administrator and I'm not really bothered about a generic event, but you have developed a workflow where you have finished a design, you have finished the development, but once the development is done, you need to send me a notification when the development is complete. When this transition happens, the moment development is done and it's getting to UAT and this development happens, you need to be able to send me a notification. That has to be done. This is a requirement which has come from people. Okay, so basically the situation is you should be able to create a notification on a transition which is available on the workflow. Or one classic example will be, the moment somebody sends you a manager for approval, right? The moment it is assigned and it is going to manager for approval, the manager should get an email notification, right? Anyways, you have an event
Yes.
that there is already an event created, something is assigned, the assigned owner will get it.
Correct.
But apart from that, you say no, you want to create an extra workflow. Every time there's a workflow, that guy should get an email notification. This is a requirement. So within notification, the only thing is within that, when you click on this, today you click on this, you see there are settings and you can edit and all those things can come in, isn't it? Or you can also
Yeah.
click on transition. The moment you click on transition, there are many choices which will come here. Okay. There is something
Yeah.
called post functions. Okay. Now there are many things that you can build. Your logic workflow is a huge world, but especially with regards to notification, if you want to go ahead and probably send within development complete, I need to be able to go ahead and you select the transition, properties comes in, post function comes in. You cannot change any of this 1 to 4 option. But if you want to add an event within that workflow, then you have to fire a generic event, which is there, which means you will have to edit this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and you say, okay, fine. I think you should be able to go ahead and send me Uh, Probably something which gets uh, log issue, and the work starts probably on the development. You should be able to create a workflow immediately and send me a trigger on this. So instead of a generic event which was there in the past, now using this workflow, the moment the work starts on the development and this transition hits in because it's linked to our workflow any which ways, rather than triggering email on a generic event, whenever the work starts, I should be able to go ahead and send that email. So we were able to kind of add, and it's just post function that you need to be really bothered about. So one is associated scheme, system, send email. I also spoke about notification banner, something that you should be able to see on our client. And then how to add a notification type on work.
One query here, Raj.
Right.
That when we clicked on that transition, there
Mhm.
was a generic function as well, generic event as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So, is it already having that when the likewise in our system when the issue was getting into the testers event, like the status was for the testing, waiting for testing or something like that. We
Right.
were getting a notification like this issue is now waiting for the testing event.
Right.
Is it there is some default, or when we add a generic event, then only it will get created?
See, by default, workflow will not have an email notification which is customized by default. It will always have a generic event which is kept there. Now, if you want to actually start triggering an event, then you probably have to go like the way we have selected a workflow. You have to select that, you have to select the transition, and then go to post function and add whatever, whenever you want to kind of really send that email, you will be able to. The moment it gets to this phase, because there are many other steps which will be there to phase. The moment this gets transitioned, and probably you are already saying that development is complete and it needs to move to UAT, because you are talking about your kanban board, isn't it? You're taking this from a
Yeah.
kanban board and moving it to there. Or when you're opening your issue type, whether it's a bug or user story, you are selecting, isn't it, whether it's done, in progress, complete, or whether it's development or UAT. This part will be there. The moment you select UAT, now this will start triggering a notification to. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a very important part, because if you know all what you have covered in last 1 hour, only that much, there is nothing beyond that you really need to know about notification. This covers the whole world into notification, because you need to understand, one is generally adding notification, deleting notification, creating scheme, assigning the project. If there is a trouble, we should be able to do that. If it's on a workflow, there is a trouble, we should be able to fix that. Today we want to integrate on the cloud, or we want to integrate with exchange. Looks like the email is not going in. Can we send a generic email? Can we send a notification? All those things are there. You know this much or more than enough. Nothing else is required. Understanding or notification. Yes, now question.
But when exactly that email will get triggered? Once the development means the status will change from develop to UAT, or when it is just a develop?
The status will change from development to UAT. It will set, because then it's transitioning already. So I change the
Yeah.
status, and immediately a trigger of an event or notification will start also.
Okay.
Hmm?
That means when the transition will get completed, after that it will trigger.
Very true. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this kind of sums up the whole world of notification. And if
Okay.
I really go back to here, Jira, try to go here. We know how to create projects. We know how to create Scrum project or Kanban project, whether it's sprint, backlog, estimation, boards, configuration, we know that. Then all those fields that were there as a part of the issue, whether we want to vote, watch, move, clone, edit, uh, issue type, subtask, priority, resolutions, all those things was done. Then we also looked at custom field. We looked at custom field. We looked at custom field configuration. We also attached a scheme to it, something we can hide, something we cannot hide, something we can make mandatory, something we can make option, something on the beginning of the screen, something on the end of the screen. So all these two are connected, right? Because it's all connected to where you want to add. You want to add as a mandatory, you want to make it optional, and your question of whether some people are able to see few things, some people are not able to see few things, all those things probably will be managed with the help of user permission also. That's a part in question that we are keeping it for tomorrow. But for now, we have also covered the entire idea of this aspect. Then we spoke about workflow. Workflow, we were able to create, associate, modify, delete. Today we actually looked at a little bit of post function also, which was there. Then remember on the old days we created a Jira query, basic search, advanced search, dashboard, management, gadget, Scrum, managing filter, creating a dashboard, and generating report was also there. Users we were able to add, delete, groups, roles, permissions, all those things we did it there. There is something on issue security. Okay, that is pretty much in general should be driven with their organization policy. But yes, there is an option which is available there. Now, troubleshooting permissions. One is permission helper, notification helpers should generally take care of it. Events we have seen, we have looked at the mail, global mail settings, local mail settings. We were able to kind of take care of all these factors which are there. Then indexing in cloud is normal, but when you have a thick client, of course, you need to index. It helps you in the searching. It will ensure that database is synchronized correctly, and people are able to find and search. Bulk change, we actually did it. Import and export is an option which is definitely a part that we should have been spoken about. Now, beyond this, your initial curriculum is almost kind of complete there. If I look at this
Okay.
part, if I look at this part also, uh, we know how because when we covered the initial theory, we covered from the initial business requirement, and then it moved into creating many things, JQL, how do we go ahead and do an import, how do we export. In fact, we also were able to add an add-on on test management and run that entire test management module with the help of that. Then, of course, we are talking about Jira settings with regards to your dashboards, user settings, whether he wants to keep his password, change his view, all those things were also spoken about. Now, application and project management. There are a few things that I would probably will talk about there. Okay, hold on. General project configuration, we know we drove the entire project cycle from beginning till the end. Every time you're creating something on issue or system, you're coming back to project settings and you're doing that. Authentication and security, you remember users are able to change in the password, but most times it will be binded by your organization policy. It will be linked to the integration that you have with SSL. And then if you have any level of encryption which is available in organization, you will be able to do that. Issue type, we were able to kind of your issue type, your custom fields, your screen, we were able to go ahead and do that. Workflow also, we were able to create, modify, delete, attach to a project. Email notification, server administration, yeah, we did looked, all those are in combination to what we would be even doing it. And then basically some contrasting options of this. If you actually look at the whole curriculum of this one also, now it's purely about few things. I don't know whether we have enough time. Let's check a couple of more few things that I want to cover, and then we'll talk
Okay.
about. Okay, I will probably extend the session by another 15 minutes. Okay. Now, one was this audit log. Okay.
Yes.
Anytime anything which gets recorded and added will be a part of this audit log. Anything, even a single entry is moved or deleted, you will have this, right? Second, project roles and global permissions. We have spoken about user management, and we really spoke about a few things. One, roles, we know that everything moves on roles and groups. And second, on global permissions, okay, you remember that with regards to users and with regards to what they need to do and what they do not need to do, all kind of be able to move around this, right? For example, if you want to kind of administer Jira, these are the people who can do that. If somebody wants to browse user and do, you should be able to do that. If somebody wants to share dashboard and filters, or subscription, or make bulk changes, all those will be a part of this. Now within this also, there was an option which is permission schemes, which which is where a lot of your queries, when you want to just play around and you say you want to really ensure that when you go to permissions of any other project and you want to play around with now individual things around that schemes, you would play around with that scheme, and that kind of answers most of the things that you would want to do, whether he is able to manage a sprint, whether he's only able to read only a workflow, or whether he's able to close a issue, or whether only he's able to view the issue. Everything that we spoke about will all move around this big window of permission schemes. Whether you want to comment, you want to create an attachment, you want to create a blog, work an issue, everything will move around this. Okay, and user management will give you permissions around it. Each time you want to kind of remove something or add something, you should be able to go ahead and do that within your permissions. And this should give you an option to kind of give some guy a read only access, some guy write access, some guy permission access. Everything will be able to manage, and this permission helper that we spoke about will give you an idea of what to do, right? Then uh, let's go back to our, yeah, this issue collector. What is this issue collector? This is a very important aspect. Of course, we don't have the infrastructure to show you handy, but assuming that you have a remedy in your organization, isn't it? And you also have a Jira into your organization. Now you want to mention that every time a ticket is logged into, let's say, a remedy, I want a uh, similar ticket to be created on this one, on Jira
Jira
only,
yes.
right? So that is where issue collector will come into feed. Okay, and you want to ensure that a predefined format, uh, it will be available here. But this is a very important feedback, and you could probably link it to any kind of project as such. Okay. Uh,
Okay, 1 minute. Actually, in my project, we were able to create um, bugs in a
mhm,
Jira
mhm.
while sending an email as well. So,
Yes.
is it done with the issue collector?
You can focus purely on integration. Okay, because you know that there are many times where things are moving out of Jira or coming into Jira. Or I want if information which is captured in one system should also be reflecting here. Or I want to just collect some feedback from people who are there. All those factors which where you have an issue collector option which is there. Okay, you will have to go back to the project settings, and there are a couple of issue collector which are there, but we might not have the third system handy. If you want to kind of ensure that you need to, okay, or probably you want to record logged into remedy, probably want to ensure that whenever there is an issue type of something gets created and this guy is probably reporting it, and you want to probably have a feedback whether you like the feedback which is below this, or you want to change the feedback which is little like this, or you want to put the feedback on the right hand side, or you want to customize this, because most times people will have customization, either something on Java or probably on Python. They will create that, okay, and they will raise a bug, write a message that you want to fill, and if you're all okay with the template that you see there, then most likely you will have that information available for people to, and the moment you submit this, this will get created. Okay. So this is one information that it's very very handy. Of course we don't have the infrastructure to uh, third system kind of get this integrated, but this will definitely come at some point of time, that when you're trying to integrate a couple of systems, this information will become very handy.
Okay.
So issue collector, just remember that that is a very important part of integration. But yeah, mostly third party systems integrations, and you want to do automatic logging of information on a system or a part of it, it needs to go through issue collector or getting a feedback out of it. So now it was one part of it. Okay. But let's directly go to that page itself and go there from the base. Another thing which will come very very important is your look and feel,
Yes, correct.
right? So today you have a Jira software there, you want to select something else, maybe your new company is probably McAfee, and you want to have a McAfee logo there. You can of course choose a file and probably replace this with not Jira. I can probably anything which is there, I can just select this, and it will show something out there which is right. So you can change the logo of this. You could also have if you have a direct link which you want to kind of mask it, only give to the world an internal link, you could also upload a URL which is there. Third, this favicon icon, you see there's a lock icon which is there under Zen. If you want to change that icon somewhere, because if you look at something here, you see lock icon which is there, or probably you see there's an Google G mark which is there, isn't it? So when you want to change an icon as such, you probably have to use this favicon. Of course you can select the date format. If you want to have a different color, you can choose a different color. All those factors can be done using your system settings.
Okay.
Okay, then pretty much we've actually covered, but one important thing was the import and export, and this is a very important part of any system administrator. First of all, you need to have a backup manager. It means if suppose my system crashes today, I will lose all the information, all the test cases, everything which is there, right? So I can do two things. Either I can create a backup on the cloud. This will take time because moving to the cloud uploading is generally very, very slow. It will create a copy of your backup which is available on the second. Second, you could also add a local backup, saying that no, I don't want to put everything on the cloud. It will be a local backup. I can probably put it on the system there. So even that option is available here. Either you create a backup here, or tomorrow you want to import something, assuming that you want to import an Excel file or a JSON file or a CSV file. Okay, you probably will have to import data using one of this option there. So this will help you to kind of pick up something and pick that file and import that. But in general, user, you should be able to create a data point, whether it's either saved in cloud or somewhere on your tape library or on your WAN or SAN. It should be saved there. And at some point of time, if you want to restore that, from a point, you should be able to restore from the backup that you've created. Either you upgrade from the cloud, or you pick it up from the backup point that you've created on SAN. It's all up to you. Or or you could also import from an Excel file or any other information which is there. Good so far?
Mm, yeah, these import export or these external backups,
Mm-hmm.
these are for our settings part, right? And previously we have seen the import export of the test cases, right?
Yeah, like for example, today there are 1,000 people using Jira in your organization, isn't it? And there are some 100 projects which is there. Today, let's say your server crash, means I will lose all the information, isn't it? So now today somebody says, okay, looks like the server is crashed now. Can you get me a data which was exactly the way 1 month before? Can you get me that point? You need to create a restore point, okay, backup.
Yes.
Even if it crashes, I will be able to pick that from them. That is the whole purpose. Either I pick it up from the cloud or locally, or a tape library or a SAM, or I can pick it up from the the cloud instance which is there,
Cloud
or file that I need. As long that is happening, I know that I have created a backup. Something goes wrong in the system, no problem. We have a backup of it,
Yeah.
right? Notification, permissions, attachment. Yeah, attachment is another one. We want to, but today we can only send file up to 1000 MB. If you want to change the settings of attachment, you could probably change that, right?
Okay.
Do you want to allow zip to happen? No, that is where all those options will be there. Then we spoke about something on webhooks. When you look at webhooks, what does it really mean? That in general, if you want to integrate your Jira to a local copy of JQL or your database, you probably have to use this. Or sometimes you want to ensure that there is an integration which is available through some of the other products of the system. For example, Confluence. It needs to be defined here so that it can listen that information and that integration could happen there. Okay, so the other products that you have with regards to Jira need to ensure that, because it will be all saved on the organization local host, isn't it? Some port number, it will be given into something or the something. It will be there, right? Wherever it's saved locally. That path needs to be put here on webhook so that you can pick that information and that software will be available here. Okay. It's pretty much
Webbook is not that much clear for me.
uh, yeah, probably I can cover this on one example of what we can do. Okay, let me see this. Okay, let me show my office. Assuming that this is what. Today we have Jira, and assuming that we have another software which is Confluence used by people. Now there are two products, of course from Atlassian, but two different products for a different reason. Okay, so used by some 1,000 people, that also used by some 1,000 people. Today when I go to my official website, I can see McAfee Jira which is there, but I also have an add-on product which is available, which is Confluence.
Yeah.
It is sitting on one server, this is sitting on different server, it is on different location, this is on different location, it has different infrastructure. At some point of time I want to ensure that this is also available to user through Jira itself, and they can go to that. In a situation like that, I'll probably use my webhook, which will have to take the path of this one. Of course, it will be not exactly this one. It will have a local host number with a port number. That copy paste you'll get from the Confluence administrator. You put this over here, and you should be able to get that. That simple it is. Okay.
So if we want to add the Atlassian's others project or other tools, we will use it through webhook only. We don't need to add it as a gadgets.
No. But if you want to integrate product of Asia, Webhook is definitely one of the best ways of integrating.
Okay.
And with regards to issue type, we know we've gone to issue type, workflow, screen, custom field, time tracking, status, resolution, priority, notification, permission schemes. There is also an issue security scheme, which we have not really used it. And in general, it doesn't get used much. Okay. And but if you still want to create another level of security scheme where you don't have to where it can supersede the security policy of your organization, then you can go to issue security scheme, add a security scheme here, okay, and then modify it based on whatever scheme that you want to do. uh, you can add it, and within that you want to kind of add different level of security and permissions. You could definitely play around with all this. It will be around notification, so you could modify at that level, small minute level. If you want to use all the security scheme and you want to add to different level and a group and permission and all this, it will be a thing, but it does not really get generally used because individually there's lots which you can do with the help of users, permissions, schemes, organization security policies. So it kind of takes care of that using all those other fields and schemes. So mostly it kind of takes care of it. Okay. So
Okay.
now if you look at all this, and especially we said we want to master all this user management, we are aware billing is just about the money. Products, if you have any other products which are associated with the organization, apps, we know we were able to take an app on X-ray. Issue project settings, we always played around, and system, all the settings we've actually gone through it. So now it's about your practice and ensuring that we get to that. So what are my key takeaways? This curriculum, we have completed everything here, including import and export. We've actually looked through it and we can go ahead and give it. Now, my uh, ask, we actually had written somewhere there, isn't it? So one is thick line installation. Okay. Question link for preparatory exam. Resume, you will send it to me probably by Monday. And that book, you need to send me that email of that
Yeah.
PDF document. We can do it. And probably when can we set up that uh, I will give you, is this good 15 days kind of
Okay.
good to practice you till 31st, and then we can probably have a follow-up session in the month of June somewhere,
Okay.
and we'll be on WhatsApp and we'll let you know there. On that day we could have two sessions. One where, because one session might not be really enough, two sessions where you can jot down all your questions and we can cover all those questions or recap some of the things that you say, you know, I know it, but I think I should go about it again. We could also go through them. Okay, so that's something we could do probably in the month of June. But
Okay.
having said so, I think you should, it's all about now practice. So this book is very, very important. This question is very, very important. Your practice for 15, 16 days is very, very important. Getting ready for the exam is important, and then we'll take it from there. Your lab is still active. We will keep it definitely for till the end of June active for you. Not only this month, till the end of June, you still should be able to access that link that we are there.
Okay.
So I think we are in a position from from our initial aspect of whether we know what Jira is. We actually have known now a lot more. more than anybody else now. You are essential as a user where you look at a ticket and user and dashboard and query and all those. When you get into administration and beyond that also, and each and everything that Jira has. Today you have an understanding of everything that a Jira really possesses. Now, what do you do with that information? It's all up to your effort that you put in from here. But anything else that a Jira administrator will do? Of course, no. Nothing beyond this, a Jira administrator will do. If you have only understood what we have done through the curriculum of this class, you probably will know everything which a Jira administrator will do. Beyond this, it's just about mastering and getting into the situation and taking care of the issue. Otherwise, we have pretty much covered the whole syllabus,
Okay.
right? So yes, Mayur will any which is be in touch with your email. So to begin with, you'll send me that PDF document, and on that
Yes.
I'll send you the link to start preparing for the exam. That's two immediate things. Okay, I will send you this Excel file and something that we had documented on Visio. This I will send you. Hmm? And then we will arrange a follow-up session in the month where we can really have a
Uh,
group session.
okay. So you will share that questionnaires link on
Yes.
email.
Yes, in the email on which you'll be sending me the PDF copy, I will be sending on that link where you can start practicing those exams. Those are authentic questions.
Okay.
If you
And
can,
to install that thick client,
ah,
do I need to create the VM on my laptop?
in general, you should be okay, but it will affect the performance of your system. If you have a problem there with the performance, then we will install Oracle Virtual Machine and we will try to see whether we can use that. Otherwise, you should be okay still. Try doing it locally first. If it creates a lot of performance issue, then we'll get the VM installed.
Okay. And for that VM, what all things means there should be a database as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Install Oracle Virtual Box, Virtual Manager. Okay, and that will give you almost everything. But I said we will start something smaller, and we can probably start something very locally. But if you want to get the entire setup ready, get the Oracle Virtual Box installed on your system, and we'll take it. Okay, as long as
how to
90%.
install?
Okay, I can pass you some reference around Oracle Virtual Box.
Okay.
Hmm? That should take care of it. Right, wonderful. So you are now a Jira administrator before you actually go and get the certified fermentation. At least you know the knowledge.
Yeah. Even regarding that exam as well, I need to check out like due to this COVID, they have shut their exam centers. So
Yeah.
are they taking something online or that thing I need to check and need to register for that now.
Right, and you can
I
do
guess after registration there is a 3 months period, right?
that 3 months period. And today, COVID times, everybody is flexible. So it's okay. Don't worry about it. They will be flexible enough to kind of give you a different slot, time, and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, this information that we've covered is more than enough to understand anything on here. Now it's all just about getting into the situation. So
Yes, correct.
nothing else anybody else in the world can cover you.
Yeah.
So right, it's a great tool that you've mastered, and we will be in talk on WhatsApp, email, and if required, you can definitely call me. We can talk. So most likely, I think we will be meeting on June first week. Yeah. Otherwise,
Okay.
instructions will continue through email and WhatsApp, and just continue doing on practice.
Okay. And whatever the questionnaire is link you are going to share, those have the latest one or the those are the general one.
These questions. If you can only practice what I've given you, you will crack the exam.
Sorry, can't hear you.
The question that I will be sharing with you, if you can only use uh, today's Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
So the questions which I will be sharing, the link, if you can only practice that, you will most likely will clear the exam.
Okay.
Hmm? Anyways, I'll probably have to jump in for a meeting now.
Okay.
And we will definitely be in touch with email and WhatsApp. Best of luck. Wonderful talking to you. Wonderful knowing to you as a person also. It was great. We managed a small journey together. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. Even I'm grateful that you have given me such a time and given me a guidance as well.
You're
Apart
welcome.
from the Jira.
You're welcome. And I'm sure that we'll be in touch for a long time. It's
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Hmm? Thank you very much. Just get back to me on anything if required. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I will reply on email. Take care.
Yes. Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.